Okay, good morning, Year 6. So, earlier this week you've been doing virtual English lessons with Miss Garraway and you've been writing or finishing off your newspaper report on our history work in the bus boycott. Today and tomorrow we're going to write another newspaper report, but a bit more independently, so we're not going to give you the sentence starters. So a bit like we do in school where we write one together and then you write one by yourself. But we're going to do it on our book, The Boy at the Back of the Class, okay? So you will need to have read up to or listened up to chapter 19, so the end of chapter 19. These chapters were put on the website under the reading section yesterday to give you a chance to listen to them. If you haven't had a chance, then I would stop the video now and go and listen to them. Otherwise, you're going to struggle because you're not going to know what actually happened. Those people that have listened to it should be ready to go. So we're going to follow the exact same structure as you followed earlier in the week for our bus boycott one. The same shapes that we came up with last week. So it should all be very familiar. You should have had practice on writing one. So it should be quick and easy to do our next one independently. So we are going to write our newspaper report as reporters, reporting on the events of the day when the children broke into Buckingham Palace. So when the narrator climbed over the gates, the barriers, and went to give the letter. So at the top of the screen, we've got all the shapes that we're going to be following today and tomorrow. So they're exactly the same as the earlier in the week. So just remind yourself, so maybe pause the video, have a think or jot down ideas. What events happened in that chapter? So you're going to need these to write in your newspaper report. So what actually happened from the beginning to the end? So give the video a pause and have a think about these things. Okay, so you might have come up with things like this. So at the very beginning of the chapter, the narrator, who we don't know who they are at the moment, and Tom have been dropped off by Stan, the taxi man outside the palace. Now, obviously, if you're a reporter reporting on the day, you haven't read a book that tells you, so you don't know how the children got there. But if you were a reporter, you would have had to have investigated the story, and you might have tracked down Stan, who told you that this is what happened, and that's how you know. So you don't know because you've read the book, because we're pretending that it's a real event. Then it did say that when the children got there were lots of police officers, there were police cars, there were big crowds. Now we know that's going to be true. So as a reporter, you would know that. You might have been there at the scene on the day reporting the big event, or you might have tracked down other people, other witnesses, and asked them. So we know that there were a lot of people there on that day. It says that there were cameras and helicopters everywhere. The children thought someone special might have been coming to visit, but we know that actually it's because of the changing of guards. So if you're not sure what that is, then maybe pause the video, have a Google. There's lots of videos of the changing of guards so that you're aware of what you're actually writing about. But the children didn't know that, but we as reporters would know. And then during the changing of guards, the gates to the palace are opened, obviously for the guards to change over. So that's a normal part of the process. And during that, the narrator clambered over the barriers onto the red road in front of the palace and touched one of the guards. Now, we don't know if the narrator actually gave the letter to the guard. It doesn't say that, but that's something you might want to add into your newspaper report. So you might report that they gave the note to the guard, or maybe they didn't get a chance in the end. And then it says at the very end that everything went black and the narrator fainted. And we know this because it says the ground rushed up to me. So out of the people that you're going to be talking to get information, you're probably not going to be talking to the narrator, because if they've just fainted, they might need some medical help. You might not be able to find them if it's a while after. So just keep that in mind. And remember, as we're writing it as if we have investigated it. So we've spoken to lots of other people, not as if we have read the book. So don't get too confused. Make it too story-like, because we're pretending it's an actual event. It might be easier to pretend that you were one of the people that was there to report on the changing of guards and you just so happen to see what happened. Okay, so we're going to need to use all of those in our newspaper report today. Okay, so keep in mind what happened. Now, let's have a look then. So can you remember the main shapes of the newspaper report? So we looked at an example one on Thursday last week, and then you looked at one with Miss Garraway this week. So first off, we need our key components of a newspaper. So we need the newspaper title, we need the date it's written on, we need the title of the newspaper report. Okay, then we're going to go to, now Miss Garraway called this the hook for her class. My class, we talked about a summary. So the bit underneath that sums up what the article's about. So you want the 5 W's, the who, the what, the where, those sorts of things. So a brief explanation, a couple of sentences, what your main article is actually about, a sum up of it. And then we're going to look at the timeline of events. So we go back to the beginning and we work through and report all of the events that led up to the main thing that's happened. Okay, so we're going to look at those 3 shapes today, like we normally do. So, first of all, you need to lay out your page how you normally would for a newspaper report. And we've already done one this week, so it should be easy. Now, in this box at the top, we want our the name of our newspaper. And we want this to spread all the way across the top of the page, nice and big. Now, you might use the same name of the newspaper for your bus boycott one if you made one up for that one. Make it up completely. Now, that's going to stretch all the way across the top of the page. Now, in this little red box that I've laid out is going to be where your date is going to be. Now, you don't need to draw it around in boxes. This is just to help you. So in this box, you're going to write the date of the event. Now, I've had a check and I'm not 100% sure that we know the date. We know the book was written last year, so we're writing in the 21st century. We're writing very recently, but I would say make up the date that you think this event happened. We know it's on a weekday because they've skipped school, so it's not on a weekend, but you can take that date and make it up for now. But remember, it's recently, so last year, this year, the year before, any date that's recent. So then underneath that small little date, you are going to come up with the title of the article. Now remember, the title of the article, you need to spread all the way across your page like the name of the newspaper, so nice and big, but not too big, so don't take up the whole page. And you want to keep it short and snappy, what the article is about, but don't make it too wordy. Okay, so if you need time to do that, then pause the video and get that down. Okay, so first off, so we've done this one. Now we need to look at our actual paragraph that is our hook, our summary of the whole article. So we need to think about the 5 W's, the who, what, where of the event that we are reporting. So this is where you're summing up, a basic sum up of all the events that happened in chapter 19, okay? So the main point of what you're reporting on is that a child has climbed over the barriers, effectively broken into the grounds of the palace, has touched one of the guards, either given them a note or just touched them if they haven't got the note yet, and then fainted. So that's the main gist of what you are going to write about. Now, I've done a little purple box to say how you're going to lay that out. So, like in our bus boycott one and our example one on Thursday, your summary paragraph is going to go all the way across the page underneath your article. Now, as this is more independent than our bus boycott one, I'm not going to give you any information or sentence stems to start it off, but you could think back to our bus boycott newspaper reports and think about what sort of things you wrote. So you're going to want to start with what day you're reporting it on, so probably the same day that it happened. So I would give yourself about 5 minutes to write this sum up. So pause the video, have a go. If you need to do it a little bit longer than that is fine. Okay, so we have now done our summary, so our hook, our sum up of everything that happens. Now is our time to write the timeline of events. So you want to do it in chronological order, so from the start to the beginning. Now, when I talked about the key events at the beginning of this session, I did it in the order that they happened. So you could always flick back to that slide in the video while you're writing out your newspaper report so that you can follow the structure. So this is the part where you probably want to separate your page into columns. So the purple bit at the top should be your article summary, and then you want to split your page. You can either fold it in half so that you've got an actual fold, or you can just draw a line down the middle. And then remember, we're always starting on the left side and going down in the column. So you can start there. Remember to use paragraphs. And remember, you're reporting it as a reporter, so you need to be formal. You're not recalling it as events in a book, so make sure it's not too story-like. Stick to the facts of what happened. And remember, any information that you've gained, like who Stan is and how the children got there, you're going to have to explain that you got it from witnesses and investigating rather than you just know it, okay? So I would flick back to the beginning of the video where I mapped out the key events if you haven't written them down, and then get them jotted down on that side. So remember, full sentences, nice and formal, just like we did on the bus boycott newspaper. It should be easy. Now this bit is longer because it's the main part of your article, so you're reporting all the events in order of the time of how they happened. So I would give yourself a little bit longer. I'd give yourself about 15 minutes to do this bit. If you need a bit longer, then give yourself a bit longer, but 15 minutes should be a good amount of time to do it, so you're not writing for ages, but you're getting enough time to get all the information down. So pause the video now and get those 15 minutes of the actual events of the article down in the right order. Okay, super. So today we have done our title, our date, our newspaper title. We've done our sum up paragraph of what the article is about, and we've got the main part down of the chronological events of the newspaper. So that's all we're going to do today. So it hasn't been lots of writing. So check back in tomorrow because we're going to finish off with our last 3 shapes, which should be nice and quick. And then we should have a full article ready to go. So well done for the hard work today, and I will see you tomorrow.